Oh, hey. Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello. Mhm. So I just put on my little key necklace. I haven't worn it in a while, but maybe the path forward has been unlocked. Boku no Kokoro, unlock. Unlock my heart. Wait. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing today. I kind of want to. Okay. All right. How many days are there left? There's like 10 days. I'll pull 10 cards. I'll do a Spirit Keeper Tarot. Maybe I'll do two. I'll do two SKTs and one of the Diceology cards for, I guess we could say, the last 10 days of Pisces season. I'll just do 10 of them. Maybe some of them will resonate. Maybe some of them won't. I don't know. I'm listening to Cafe Del Mar. That's a thing lately. Barb and Star visit Del Mar or something. And then I was in town. I was riding around with my dad the other day, and there was a Soul Del Mar restaurant. I was like, "What? When do we have a Del Mar?" And now Cafe Del Mar Ibiza House Radio 24/7 is on here. I do got some Spanish Portuguese in my DNA, so maybe I'll track it down to Ibiza. I don't know. That's kind of something I low key sort of want to do. Um, I don't know. I'm just increasingly curious on how Patrick came to be in this incarnation. And, you know, the slave trade may have been absolutely horrendous, but because of it, it led to some genetic diversity, I guess. So I got like Spanish, Portuguese, Scandinavian, British, Irish. Um, what was another one that was weird? There's like Southeast Asian too, and I was like, what? It's not a lot, but um, like Filipino, Austronesian, and then Thai, Khmer, Myanmar. Um, the Southeast Asian was a huge surprise. Spanish Portuguese was another one. I knew I had British Irish. Also, there's Native American. I knew about that. Um, but I didn't expect Southeast Asian. Or Scandinavian necessarily, but I'm not too surprised about Scandinavian, I guess. If there's like British Irish or Irish. Ooh, Ten of Cups with that Queen of Pentacles. What is going on with the energy? The energy is feeling beautiful. It's happy family, it's man holding a heart, it's Ten of Cups, it's caring connections, there's a Ten of Wands. Maybe it's Year of the Ox energy. Maybe the ox is gonna be there's some stuff that's a little heavy, and the ox is gonna help us carry it. And so it's almost gonna reduce the energetic burden or the emotional burden. It's going to position us to be better able to do the things that maybe we sort of struggle to do. I don't know if we'll be slightly less anxious or if we'll just have more strength or courage to pursue the things that we want to pursue. And it's going to lead to some like Ten of Cups, happy family, abundance, like King Ace of Pentacles type of energy. Let me just get one card for the overall energy right now. I'm loving this spring energy. And I've been feeling spring for a minute. I thought when I started feeling spring it was like winter though. So I was like, we're about to go into winter, but it's still like spring, so maybe it'll come early. It didn't. It didn't. And I feel it. It's just like there are things, it's not necessarily a shift or a balance in priorities. But what I want the most right now, that's what I want to do. The keeper at the bottom of the deck. The keeper is my favorite fool. So this deck has three fools: the initiate, the seeker, and the keeper. The initiate is the beginning. The seeker is basically the end. No, the keeper is basically the end, and the seeker is somewhere throughout. Now, the fool goes through the major arcana from the magician to the world card. After the world card, you come out with the keeper. It's the one who's integrated everything along the way. And because they've integrated everything from the magician to the high priestess, emperor, empress, strength, wheel of fortune, death, temperance, the devil, star, moon, sun, judgment, and everything that I didn't say, hangman, right? Hermit. I'm not going to name all of them. I say that and then I want to. Um, but it's integrated everything along the way. So now it interacts with the world in a different way. That's why the world card is sort of the world card. It's an elevation and understanding in every aspect that when work or energy is put through that understanding, it quickens everything because you know how to work with it. So keeper at the bottom of the deck. The card that came out face up is the sharpshooter. This is the Eight of Wands energy, Eight of Scepters. It's that quickening. The card that came out face down is the Ace of Pentacles, Bread of Life. That's what she's shooting for, that new world. And with the keeper at the bottom of the deck, it's required us to go through the whole major arcana and to learn and integrate things at every step. And at some point, it's like what it does is it sort of naturally leads to the shedding of limitations and the shedding of fear and resistance. It's not that fear goes away, but it's like, you know, that it's just like it prevents you or stops you, limits you from getting what you want, fear. And so you call upon that strength and maybe a little bit more of the star and some temperance to give yourself enough of an edge to proceed forward anyway. It's not about eliminating fear. It's just about sort of making ourselves stronger, or making ourselves strong enough to proceed forward anyway. So that's cute. I'm going to put these back in the deck. I guess that's the energy right now. That's why like spring is coming and more and more and more things are thawing. And the more things thaw, the quicker it comes. Four of Cups, the hollow void. I think the hollow void is saying it's an inside out type of thing. And it's like, it can be really easy to, because it's like this burgeoning energy. I'm loving the word burgeoning lately, apparently. It's budding, it's blooming, it's coming more and more and more. But if we're not careful, we can kind of sort of neglect the things that we're doing to make it come for us. And if you stop taking care of a seed before it sprouts, nothing happens. And so it's like, continue to nourish, continue to grow, continue to do the things that you're doing that are working, continue to challenge yourself and face fears and stuff like that. Because if you stop now, you just may miss it. All right. So I'm going to get 10 cards. Hopefully this don't take too long. Maybe I only do one. I'll do 10 and 1. Or 10 and 10 instead of 10 and 20. I'll pull a, that's 10, 11, 12, 13. Oops, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, I only have so much room. I hope I remember how I did this. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then the bottom of the deck. Ooh, bottom of the deck. A purifying light, a renewed mind, a moment of timelessness. I think that moment of timelessness, it's like it takes us out of the current situation. And in that, it reminds us of the infinite possibilities and potential of life. It's the very element of life itself that is almost impossible to nail down or define. Swollen is on right now. The beloved Cafe Del Marche remix by Bent. It's like, don't get bent out of shape. What was that? Oh, look, here's the initiate. I'm actually going to put that here. The start of something new. What's that, High School Musical? Okay. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's the win. 16, 17, 18. That's when I have my surgery. 19, 20. Bottom of the deck is the Chariot. We have the Chariot, which is card number 7. There's a 77. It's the 7 of clubs, even though it's the number 2. No, it's a 7. So it's kind of sort of a 777 because it's a 7 of clubs and Roman numeral 7, and then the Chariot is the number 7. So even though it is a moment of timelessness, it's not stagnant. And so what it does is, and then like this right here, it reminds me of Nietzsche or he. I think it's he. No, it reminds me of sun in Japanese, the kanji for sun. Cancer season is the summer, like if that's Cancer and sun, but let's get into this. I love that we start with the initiate at the beginning. The Chariot is the overall. So there's an energy of forward progression and movement. In this, there's the light Sphinx and the dark Sphinx. Sphinxes give me riddle energy. It's interesting because in the vice versa, there are also Sphinxes on that Chariot card. And in the Tower, on the vice versa, you see the Chariot, or you see the Sphinxes, but you don't see the Chariot or the Charioteer. And the Tower is on an island. So it's like, how did we get here? But no man is an island. And so things in life are typically smoother than we know. But things happen and work in mysterious ways because we don't know all of the workings and because we're not necessarily watching it. Because we don't necessarily know that if you go to the store to go pick up some bagels because someone in your house wants bagels and you don't really want to go, but you go, that you're going to come across someone or you're going to find some money on the ground that no one is like can lay claim to or something. Like we don't know when what is going to happen where. And so there's also this energy of not rejecting opportunity, or there's an energy of like things that we may be asked to do that we may have some kind of hesitation to, but to not put it off, to have a moment of courage or bravery. So 10 today, oh, the 5 of diamonds and the Ace of Pentacles, bread of life. It says nearly perfect harmony, a crystal clear night of charted stars and triplets in the 3rd trimester. Nearly perfect harmony. It's speaking to the energy of like, you've done as much as you can alone. You've healed as much as you can before you face this fear. You've learned as much as you can before you take on this job, this opportunity. It's like we may feel underqualified or underprepared or not worthy in some way. But the only way that we'll know that we are is by taking it on. And that's that nearly perfect harmony. It's like you've gotten all the pieces that you can get without just putting the thing together. On the 11th It's the Six of Clubs with the Eminence Nine of Orbs. A shift in the wind, a leaf caught in an eddy, and the birth of a new language. This energy, it's good. It's a lot of positive change. But if we're not grounded, we can kind of sort of get swept up in the wind and then sort of spiral and not really go anywhere. This Nine of Pentacles energy with that little bird right there. There's a sort of assuredness within self here. I think what would really benefit is like, even if I'm not perfect, even if I'm not this, even if I'm not that, this is Venus and Virgo. Like, I trust my ability to do what I need to do for myself in the moment. I trust my ability to be taken care of, right? And maybe with that little bird, it's like, I trust that spirit is also going to help. I trust that like spirit is going to lead the way and then I'm going to do what I need to do. I trust that I'm going to be fine. And so I can afford to be a little bit vulnerable. I can afford to do something risky. I can afford to prove to myself how much I love and care for me and how invested I am in my own happiness that I can take this risk. Because I know that spirit isn't going to leave or abandon me and I'm going to be good. And also, we go from a 5 to a 6, from diamonds to clubs. Oh, look, and there's 10 pentacles between the ace and the 9. So on the 12th, it's the 8. Oh, we skipped 7. We skipped 7. Oh, well, here's the 7. 7 of orbs. So we got a 5, 6, 7, 8. More pentacles. Certain pentacles heavy. An immediately met request, a land where all seasons reside, and a return to center. I love this like sort of meditative energy here and that of return to center energy. And I think again, like these seeds have already been planted. We've been nurturing and caring for them the whole time. They're about to break ground, but we don't see it. And so it's like for us, it's like, oh my gosh, like it's just happening. Things are just happening. But we've been planting and nurturing these seeds the whole time. It goes back to that energy of like setting the foundation for something that you didn't even know you were setting a foundation for, things silently moving into place. And it's almost like in her centeredness, she can hear the seeds rumbling under the ground. She can hear it, the shoot as it pushes through the earth, and the roots as they, spread out and do whatever they do. She knows it's coming to pass. But it's like everything is kind of sort of sprouting at once, all of these seeds that we've been planting. And I think that's why it's important to trust in your ability to cooperate with spirit to be solid. On the 13th, 10, 11, 12, 13, we have a queen and the New World Order. It's the Queen of Cups, a candle burning on both ends, inversion, a revelation of self and accountability with New World Order. This feels like showing up in a way that maybe you didn't show up before. It's an energy of not making excuses. It's an energy of doing what you can, what you need to do, and not expecting others or someone else or something else to do more than they can to get you to be where you want to be or do whatever. It's that accountability. That accountability is huge. And that accountability is going to help reduce the gap between the internal and the external. And with that revelation of self, it's like we begin up here with nearly perfect harmony on the 10th. It's like you just have to have the courage and bravery to do it. And to coming into the realization by the 13th. Now, if we don't do nothing on the 10th, then there's nothing to realize on the 13th. It isn't necessarily date blocked, okay? It's just a collection of messages. I wanted a number to pull, so I pulled for the number of days left in Pisces season. What I do like, though, it's something about this, it feels established before it's fully experienced. And so there is a sort of commitment to self that's being made. Now, 15, which kind of sort of breaks the pattern, it's kind of sort of off on its own. It's bringing the Three of Cups and the Six of Spades, an internal truth burning to be seen, the yin sign of masculinity, in a thrusty yet elegant dance with the kindred. This could be an energy of furthering certain friendships, relationships. It could be like a reunion-y celebration type of thing. And maybe this is like when I was getting that energy of like it feels like we ground it within ourselves before we necessarily get outside. Maybe there are things that we do within ourselves that after doing it for a few days, we kind of sort of realize how much we have grown, or we realize how brave we can be. And so it's like that gives us what we need to go and to really bring things together with that kindred energy. And maybe it's relating to it's also like a Six of Swords sailing on the calmer waters. Here's calmer waters where everyone's like, no one's fighting, arguing. But that internal truth burning to be seen and thrusty yet elegant dance are really speaking to me. Thrusty yet elegant, it's like it's this energy of something like it involves a lot of fire, it involves a lot of passion, but it's not for lack of substance. Like there's earth behind it, and there's emotion behind it, and there's like thought behind it. But it's a burgeoning excitement as we get closer and closer to spring. Now on the 16th, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That was the 14th. This is the 15th. I think I skipped something. Is this the Ides of March? So this is coming with the Queen of Diamonds and the Two of Swords. It is an abrupt change of season, the vision catching up to fantasy, the filling of valleys and falling of mountains. The filling of valleys and falling of mountains, it's an equalizing energy. It feels like around this time, there are going to be things that we believed. It's like things that you saw with your third eye, but you didn't necessarily see with your two eyes. This is the space where it's coming in. So again, like there's this like a rumbling energy of lots and lots of things about to sprout and to begin to grow. You've been planting lots of seeds. Maybe some of them you thought were duds or dead, but now there's like a massive rumbling starting to happen. And it's like everything is so quick. But the foundation has already been prepared for it. So it can be. It may be it may feel a little bit rushed when you fully come into it. But it feels like something that's been prepared for and planned for, and like everything is already set up. So don't be it's like don't lose sight of things. Like don't like necessarily go like too fast, but also like if you're getting vertigo, just close your eyes and go with the flow, and you'll find yourself continuing to move forward. It's like it feels like a lot of seeds have been planted, and it may sort of come in like all at once, and it could potentially be a little overwhelming. But I think if you look at it, it's like, oh, like I've been doing this, I've been going through that, I've been healing this, I've been preparing for that, I took these classes. Like it's a lot happening, but it's all stuff that I've been building towards. So, and it could be like just knowing that could be reassuring. But if it's a lot, it's still a lot. We go from the Queen of Diamonds to the Jack of Diamonds. A full recognition of the self that has yet to be realized, being spurred into action and aligning the bodies, Jack of Diamonds, with the Archangel of Glory, Gabriel energy, King of Wands. That's an announcement. It's carrying a little bit of an energy of judgment. And judgment is fire energy. It could be Pluto more modernly as well. So we have this energy, like these energies of nearly perfect harmony. The Queen of Cups on the 10, 11, 12, 13 brought us a revelation of self. Here's a full recognition of self, but it has yet to be realized. I think this King of Wands is the recognition of self. Because again, like the more we continue, that's why the Chariot is down here. And this purifying light and renewed mind. With the Seven of Clubs, the Seven of Wands came out earlier on the Legacy channel as a minor strength energy. And then the Knight of Wands came out after as a pre-strength energy. And then the full strength came in strength. And so it feels like the more we do this, the more we step into what's uncomfortable, the more we face our fears and conquer, the more we believe in ourselves and act in alignment with that belief, the more that we say, you know what, I'm worth this and I deserve this. So even if I fall flat on my face, I'm worth at least trying. It's like it gets us closer and closer and closer to a fuller vision of who we are. Because we can see ourselves in more scenarios and situations now because it's not that there's necessarily less fear, but because we face more fear. It's like that's something that's still like intimidating and pretty scary, and it makes me really nervous and anxious, but just like I've begun to conquer other things, I'm not gonna not try. There's just like it's like a tug of war between potential and actualizing that potential. But I guess like from a 3D earthly perspective, the energy of potential is fairly limited. When you talk about physics, it's like it moves from kinetic to potential energy. If your car can go from 0 to 100, right? And you're at 0, that's 100 potential. If you go 20, that's 80 potential. If you go 80, that's 20 potential. And so in our perspective, it's like once we hit 100 potential, there's no more potential. We've actualized all of it. But in spirit, potential is limitless. And that's this energy. It's like the more you actualize your potential, the more you realize you have more potential beyond what you thought you had. And it's not an energy of like not being satisfied, but it's like the King of Wands. It's like they go after what they want and they get it. And it's being done in a way. That's why all of this self stuff is so important, because we're not doing it to fill some kind of void or to make up for something that we don't have. We're doing it for different reasons. And I asked one of my friends yesterday, I was like, I was talking about how I sometimes have this gift to bring abundance to other people. And she was like, and I was like, I wish I could like do it for myself. And she was like, why don't you? She was like, it's about self-love and self-care and self this and self that. And I was like, I've been doing like the self-love and stuff, but like, what about personal gain? Is it not personal gain if I'm using that for myself to better my own life? And she's like, no, like, why would it be? Like, when I think personal gain, I think like someone who stands to gain something by like the loss, like someone else is losing. And it's selfish reason, it's self-centric and involves like using other people or taking from other people. That's like personal gain. Like, but what you're doing, like, or what you would be doing, like, that's not like, no, why would it be? And I'm like, oh, well, let me do this then. Because I know I'm worthy and deserving of it. I see this vision building out more and more. It doesn't look exactly like everything I'm seeing, because what's for me isn't necessarily fully constructed in a way that I'll see it and be like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. But the more I experience, the more I release limitation, the more I sort of understand that the like potential is infinite. And the more I kind of sort of realize I'm sort of limiting myself in ways. And there's this idea that it's like things don't necessarily have to follow the traditional path. Because not only have we been planting a whole bunch of seeds and nurturing them and caring for them and being prepared for this in ways that we may not understand, but also at the same time, the world is shifting and changing and evolving. And so it adds this extra layer of mystery and intrigue and possibility and a whole new it's like potential was already unlimited, but it became even more infinite. So on the 16th, it's coming out with two twos, the two of clubs and the two of orbs, the nocturne, embodying hope, a fount of truth, a tongue of light. This energy is what I thought this was. When I first saw it, it was like purifying light, a renewed mind, a moment of timelessness. It instantly reminded me of embodying hope, a fount of truth, a tongue of light. And as I was talking about how the world is shifting and evolving and changing, this is the old world, this is the new world. We're sort of in between right now. But also with this Ouroboros, it's this energy of like everything is sort of connected. Nothing is necessarily separate. You can't neglect one in favor of the other. Well, you can, but it's not going to get you where you think it's going to get you. It's like a lot of times it's this energy of like, well, if I focus on this, then the rest will happen. And it's partially true. If you focus on something, the rest will happen, but it'll happen if you do it. And if there's another requisite piece, if there's something else that's required, Spirit is going to bring it to your attention. And when Spirit brings it to your attention, you handle it, you incorporate it, you learn, you do whatever you need to do to continue on the way that you're going. But a lot of times it's like we're so tunnel vision focused that when Spirit is bringing us the other opportunities or the other things we need to know or heal or to acquire, we're like, this isn't what I wanted, so I'm going to ignore it and keep on focusing and manifesting what I'm manifesting. And Spirit's like, this is one of the tools you're going to need. This is a piece of the furniture that you're assembling. You can't have a couch without the cushions or without, like, that part that you sit on. If you have the back and the arms, like, are you going to sit on the floor? Like, you need this. But we're like, oh no, that's not this, that's not this. But this isn't that energy. This is us crossing the threshold into the new world. This is us doing those things, having done those things. This is us acting on it. We just got the vision of who we are. This is us deciding to, you know what, I can do that. I can be that. All I got to do is keep moving forward. All I got to do is get a little better every day. Like Caillou, right? I love Caillou. I don't know why people hate. Next is the Ace of Spades with the Lover's card. Tapping into the seed of all creation. Understanding what predates all. Things that must remain in the dark. There's a little bit of a High Priestess energy here. It's the moon and the Sage of Souls with the root and the third eye and Taurus. I just talked about the moon card. With the things that must remain in the dark, though, it's coming to mind as the things that it's important for us to not know. If we knew everything, we wouldn't grow. If we knew everything, there wouldn't really be much of a point to life. But that tapping into the seed of all creation, that's coming into that energy I was talking about. When I was talking about that getting like the more like we realize more potential, but we actualize more potential, realizing that there's even more potential beyond that. It's a bar that keeps raising. The lovers, it's speaking of a missing element today. The tree of life is nearly complete besides this one here. This could be cooperative pieces. So the things that must remain in the dark, maybe there's something with you going where you're going, something that you can't do. It's a weakness that you have, it's a skill that you don't possess. It's something that you don't have the time to worry about because you're doing so many other things. There's something that's entrusted to somebody else. And your ability to integrate that, to recognize that, and to accept that is what's really going to elevate you into this new space. And I think that's one of the differences between the old world and the new world, because it's not codependent, but it depends on those that it can rely on. It's more interdependent. And in an old world, there's such an energy of like competition that, like, if you get this position, if you get this job, if you get this money, there's someone else who didn't get it. That it somehow, it's like it interferes with the energy of abundance. But with this Lover's card and tapping into the seed of all creation and understanding that which predates all, it's that flow, it's that balance, it's that incorporation of others in a way that's more cooperative than competitive. And maybe because of your past, maybe you've had a history of being codependent, or you've manifested people who were codependent to learn something. But there's a difference between being codependent and interdependent. And after you've done all the work that it's saying that you're doing, after you're facing and addressing the things that you're addressing, you're making yourself more whole. You're making yourself more complete. Like, the full recognition is right there 2 days prior or 2 steps prior. So at this point, you're no longer looking for something to complete or to fill. And I said that, like, we're not filling voids anymore. You're manifesting something that is truly of benefit, of value, of addition to you. And there are things that we'll never be able to do. But we don't have to be able to do those things, because there's a lot of people here. Someone can do it. We're learning to get along with others and to play nice. So the 19th is bringing us the King of Hearts and the 10 of Pentacles. A decision that once made cannot be rescinded. A wise king who settles an impossible dispute, operating in divine order. It's that operating in divine order, the things that must remain in the dark, that, what was it? Aligning of the bodies. It's like it's getting us closer and closer and closer to this version of us. And it's happening so quick. And I think there's also, like, there are going to be days where it's easier than other days. It's easier to be fearless. It's easier to be courageous. It's easier to not think of every single failure that you've experienced in your life, or every single time you thought something was going to happen, it didn't happen. It's easier to see the bright side and the positive side some days. And there is a little bit of back and forth here. But it feels like what it's really doing is it's rooting and it's establishing it in your foundation. Because the more you're exposed to it, the more aware you are of it, the easier it gets to remember. It's like practice makes perfect. And so you have less and less and less of those days. And it's not to necessarily feel any type of way when you have one of those days, right? But this decision that once made cannot be rescinded. It feels like on the 19th, it's fixing the path. And it's fixing to the path of abundance. Now, what's variable here is the amount of time it's going to take to get there. But when you're operating in divine order, it's like you're taken care of along the way. There could probably be a little bit of like, why isn't this working? Like, I just want to be there. I just want to be there. But there are still things to do in every day, in every moment. We're continuing to nurture, right? If something grows faster than its foundation can handle, it'll crumble. It'll topple over. It'll fall like the tower. That's why the foundation is important. That may be why it's taken so long, or so many things have come up But again, like just because the seeds haven't sprouted yet doesn't mean that they're not down there doing whatever they need to do to grow, right? There's a rumbling happening under the earth. This song Delusions just came on. I'm like listening to the lyrics. This is interesting. But that wise king who settles an impossible dispute, it's carrying the energy of you doing, being, saying, entering things, spaces that you wouldn't have been able to before. That's why the high priestess is the high priestess. But that's why the keeper is the keeper. It's like the high priestess is like, it's when you get information before you're ready to use it, before you know what it's for. And you're like, if someone just says at the third light turn left, if someone just says beware the Ides of March, you're like, okay girl, like what is that? Like what does that mean? But then one day you're lost and you're like, oh my gosh, like my phone just died, GPS is dead, I don't know where to go. But then you remember at the third light turn left, and you're like, okay, I guess I'll do it. Third light, you turn left, and boom, there's your destination. It's the instruction that happens before the mission. And sometimes it can be interpreted as secrets or whatever, but it's information that we're not yet ready to, that we don't yet have enough of a foundation to understand. And if you get too much of it, it'll cripple you in a way, because now you're so focused on everything happening 10 to 20 years out from now that you can't see the things that you need to do in 0 to 5 years or 0 to 10 years to anchor that onto your path 10 years from now. If you're not doing what you need to do now to make 10 years from now, 10 years from now, it's not going to happen. That's the dynamism and the element of choice and free will that continues to add twists and turns to the paths. But with that settling, like that, it's related to the impossible decision though. We're growing into these spaces that we never would have entered. And it's like, man, I feel like this is for me, but I don't know how I'm going to get it. That impossible decision is made. It's the wise king. It's the king that chose to continue to grow. Like I said, it's like if you're manifesting something and spirit brings along your path all of the things you're going to need to get it, it would be wise of you, it'd behoove of you to listen to spirit and to do things, to heal things, to address or grow in ways that you may think unrelated. Because spirit knows what the destination actually is. You have an idea of what it might be. You have an image of what you think it is, but reality is like expectation versus reality. Reality can be different. Reality can be better, or it can be worse, depending. I love that. So the 19th and 20th, 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Diamonds. Love that. It's the 10 of Diamonds and the 8 of Cups, 8 of Chalices defector. A blistering heat and freezing cold that lies at the heart of creation. The truth of the heart made plain and beginnings. We end Pisces season going into Aries season with beginnings, period. The 8 of Cups. This just came out in the reading earlier today on the Legacy channel when I talked about how the 7 of Wands also came out. And the set, look, 8 of Cups, 7 of Wands, 7 of Clubs. It's that, like, and again, that's that minor strength into the pre-strength into full strength energy. This is that new cycle. It's following the stars and leaving old emotional foundation behind. And again, coming off of that impossible decision energy, this is the understanding that, like, with your old emotional foundation, it never would have been able to accommodate 9 of Cups energy or 10 of Cups energy. That's why you had to leave it. That's why you're leaving it behind. If it would have worked, if it were perfectly fine and suitable, it would still be here. Take a chance. Take a chance just came on. Take a chance. Leave it behind. 44:44 on the time. It was technically 44:46, but it happened. And I feel like the truth of the heart is like, I don't know. I am scared, but this is something that I want. And I'm no longer going to sabotage. I'm no longer going to focus on the negatives or to look at everything that could go wrong with this, because my heart is set on, my soul is set on going down this path and finding out and not being so quick to quit or to give up or to fall into like, well, this used to happen and that used to happen. Like all of these red flags are, it's like instead of rose tinted glasses, we're wearing red tinted glasses. We're quick to be triggered to like anger or to whatever. And there are just these things that can be worked through now. The foundation is different. Healing has occurred. Awareness is there. If you say something, if someone cares about you, they'll listen. And it feels like it comes with a certain amount of surprise because it's like, whoa, like somebody actually listened. But I think it's also really, really, really important to speak. And speaking may be uncomfortable sometimes. I know for myself personally, there may be like little minor things that I'm like, oh, that's not important. Like I can get over it. But then, and so it's like, I don't necessarily need to say anything if I'm just going to get over it. But if it persists, that's when it's like, okay, maybe I should say something because something in here is starting to really bother me. And I thought I would just be over it, but I'm not. This is really breaking patterns with the 8. And it's leading to beginnings. It's a beginning that you wouldn't have been able to reach in that previous state from that previous framework. That's why Pisces season came out like it did. It's not a challenge, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to really double down and to be like, you know what? I'm going to do everything I need to do in order to come into this new astrological year and in order to come into the season of renaissance and rebirth, spring, with the seeds that I planted blossoming. Like the trees, they already got their little buds out there. They ain't opened up yet. Maybe they got buds. I'm assuming they have buds because they're about to start opening up. And it's interesting because it's like I think I saw a few leaves blowing in the yard today. But I'm looking at the trees. I'm like, there aren't any leaves yet. Hello? It's dedication. It's determination. It's a decision. It's a choice. It isn't necessarily all here right now, but it doesn't have to be. The decision is the most important part because choice is what determines our paths. And a decision is, it's like what it does is it straightens the path, it narrows it, because a decision, it's like a promise to continue to make the choice every time. And so now we don't have to wait until we get to that choice and then make the decision and wait till we get to this choice to make the decision. And so what it does is like I'm aligning myself to this path. Again, it's like making that choice, making that choice, making that choice. It's like boom, 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 boom. And then all you have to do is honor that decision, honor that promise, and continue to make the choice. I'm not going to give up on this. I'm not going to run away, even if it gets hard. Don't push me away. Like, don't push me off the cliff and then be like, oh, I thought you said you weren't going to go anywhere. It's like, girl, come on. And again, it it lines up the path. And in my own personal life, that's the space I've reached within the last few days. And it's a decision that I make and then I make and then I made and made and made and made again. But it's one that I act like I intend on keeping it this time. I intend on honoring it because I've lived enough life to know that I wouldn't have it any other way. And it's less fulfilling, it's less vibrant, it's less alive. But not only that, like there's a peace and there's a comfort in it, in the decision. And regardless of what comes, I know it's going to be less sucky than not making that decision. So then after I made that decision, I was like, oh, wait, I forgot about this one path that I was going to go down. And I feel like that path, it perfectly, it works for me perfectly. That's what I want. And it leaves me open to be able to do what I want. And I don't know. Now I feel like since I made that decision, I don't need as much guidance from spirit to make the decision. So a lot of things have also calmed down. I'm like, oh gosh, I feel like I can breathe again. Thank you. Goodness, because for a moment there, I'm like, I don't know if it's this new moon coming up, if it's this Pisces stellium about to happen, or what. I mean, Pisces stellium is already happening. We got the Sun, Neptune, and Venus all in Pisces. Now Mercury is about to come into Pisces. And it's that mercurial bit that I've been prepared for. There are things that I needed to see and realize and recognize that will really complete the space. Why did this Five of Cups at the bottom come in like, remember me? It's like I worked on those two cups I needed to work on. So, I'm not going to be the cat that's constantly like knocking over the cups for no reason anymore. And then there's the Queen of Cups. It's like, good, you bet not. I'm just Queen of Cups is like, I think the Queen of Cups realizes ways in which she was also guarded. And it's like, if something doesn't work, it doesn't work for multiple reasons. Now, one entity can't be the only one making things work, but multiple reasons. Death card with the Seven of Swords, no longer doing that stuff that self-sabotages. There was something internally that needed to be addressed. And it has been. Or it has been well enough to begin this and to allow the full actualization and realization and settling of the healing to happen. Because we can heal so much, but healing is made like we anchor healing into our root when we approach those spaces and we make the healed choice and the healed decision instead of the trauma triggered choice, right? Who did? I'll take you. I think it just came out in reverse. Oh, it's the Tower. Tower just came out. But the Axe of Shiva is in the Tower card. And the Axe of Shiva, it dispels corruption. It gets rid of corruption. So there was something in the foundation, probably internally. It's the reason why we kept manifesting towers in the past, regardless of how good the situation was. It was something internally that still needed to be addressed and removed. And the divine spirit has been doing all it can to highlight and illuminate it to us, those ways in which we kind of sort of sabotage and restrict and limit ourselves. I think we've done what we needed to do to start addressing it. Bottom of the deck, Archangel Commander. Yeah, we've done what we needed to do in order to address it. And also with that Archangel Commander, it's like Spirit is on standby until you do what you need to do. Spirit can't do this for you. Spirit can't force you to stop doing whatever it is that you're trying to stop doing or to start doing whatever it is that you're trying to start doing. Those are things that you have to do for yourself. And in you doing that for yourself, again, with that minor strength to pre-strength to full strength, it bolsters your ability to do it. That's how you grow. If Spirit did it all for you, you would never grow. It's like when you have a kid and you do everything for them. And if anything were to happen to you, because you did everything for them, now they can't do anything for themselves. And it's that interesting balance that a parent has to have. I'm sure parents have to face a lot of paradox when it comes to raising children. I'm not a parent though, so I can't speak from personal experience. I'm ready to go to the beach. I don't even really like beaches. I'm not really a beach person, but maybe I am, now that I'm not so intent on being cooped up inside all the time. I'm ready to travel. I'm ready to live life. I'm ready to laugh. I'm ready to love. I'm ready to cry. I'm ready to experience all of the ups and downs. I lived so much of my life not thinking I would have one. Three of diamonds. A school of glimmering fish spotlight a sunken treasure. The risings of a new continent. The rising of a new continent. It's a new land. It's that Ace of Pentacles energy. It's also an Atlantis type of energy. It was submerged. It was buried deep, almost forgotten about. It was buried for so long, so deep, it became a myth. Like, oh my gosh, remember when I used to love life? Remember when I used to like meeting new people? Remember when I was an extrovert? What happened to that? But with these fish, it's like, it's this image of like, there's this, because light only penetrates so deeply. And so there's this sunken treasure that no one can find. But there are these fish that the way that their scales are made, they're basically, I don't know, they reflect a lot of light. And the way that they're positioned, they get the sunlight to go even further down. It's like a laser if you bounce a laser between mirrors. And so now the light can penetrate to a depth that it couldn't before because this school of fish is moving the light, creating this spotlight along the floor of the ocean where we find the treasure. It's like, oh my gosh. It reminds me of the star card in the Wild Unknown Tarot a long time ago now. It came to me as like, it's a light rest. It's like a bed of light in a sea of darkness. And that's this new continent. Bottom of the deck is the Jack of Spades, the beginnings of self-realization, caring for one's mental space, preparing to welcome something big, with the rising of a new continent and the discovery of that sunken treasure. There's been lots of self-realization. And it's self-realization. I think there were things that I was kind of sort of subconsciously doing that I didn't even fully know that I was doing. And it's only been within the past few days and I'm like, oh, wow, I guess I was doing that. And before I couldn't even see it. But now that I see it, I'm like, wow, that's kind of sort of crappy. And that's not who I am. Like, not only is that not who I want to be, but that's not who I am. And then it's like, wow, when did I become this? I guess if you live enough life, you'll be jaded in all kinds of ways that I didn't necessarily know that I was. Honestly, it was ways that I felt justified in being. And now it's like, not true, is it? That's paradox. That's life. All right, y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I hope you have a good whatever, whenever. It seems like this Pisces energy for me is carrying an energy that I did not expect. Typically, I feel like I can see the subtle ties between energies. But honestly, it feels more like this is a future energy echoing back to the past to prepare us to receive it. Like, usually it's like we continue in this like past to present sort of stream. But this is a future to past stream that's trying to make sure we end up on that timeline. And so it's like it's like something injected in the stream at some point. Almost like a time travel-y energy. It's like if you see a movie or whatever and it's someone who goes back in time to prevent a certain string of events from happening, but it's like the opposite. Excuse me, was that like Back to the Future Part 2? Or Part 3? No, I think it was still in the first movie. Where it was like something happened and his mom and dad weren't going to get together. And he was like, oh crap, well, I got to make sure that they get together. So I exist in the future. It's kind of sort of that energy. It's made its way back here instead of being carried forward. It's a merging of the two because we're transiting from one age to another, from one earth to another. And so in this moment of in between, there's the future, the higher timeline reaching out to us and all the other timelines. Okay. All right. Anyway, I'll catch y'all later. Have a good whatever, whenever. I hope you continue to be brave and courageous and doing whatever you need to do to get where it is that you're going. Because Spirit ain't going to just have you doing stuff for no reason. Most of the time, or at least sometimes, Spirit ain't going to have you doing something for no reason. All right. Bye.